The summer of 2026 is fast approaching, and the pressure at Old Trafford is starting to feel suffocating for the Ineos leadership. Finding a new manager is no longer a long-term project. It's an urgent, make-or-break decision that needs to be finalized now. The reason is simple, but the challenge is massive. The 2026 World Cup kicks off in June, and that creates a huge blind spot in pre-season planning. Normally, a new manager would need at least 6 to 8 weeks to implement ideas, build structure, and get players fully aligned with a new philosophy. But with a packed international schedule, most players won't return until late July, and they'll be coming back physically drained. For a team like Manchester United, desperate to rebuild and reset, that lack of preparation time is a serious risk. There simply won't be enough space for players to fully absorb a new tactical system. Delay the decision, and United could be walking straight into a disastrous start to the next Premier League season. A scenario Sir Jim Ratcliffe is determined to avoid at all costs. And that's exactly why the stability Michael Carrick is currently providing has become impossible to ignore. It's no longer just a temporary solution. It's a real option that Ineos now has to seriously weigh against more ambitious, long-term targets. Among all the candidates, Carrick stands out as the most practical choice, and arguably the one who has earned the most trust. What he's done at Old Trafford in recent months speaks for itself. He hasn't needed flashy presentations or complex tactical jargon to win people over. Instead, he's relied on something much more powerful: calm authority, quiet confidence, and the composure of a man who once was the heartbeat of Sir Alex Ferguson's midfield. Carrick knows every corner of Carrington. He doesn't need time to settle in, and more importantly, he knows how to reignite that fighting spirit in the players almost instantly, something United have often lacked under foreign managers. That cultural fit is his biggest weapon. Under Carrick, United play with intent, direct, quick, and full of energy. He's not trying to reinvent the game. Instead, he focuses on getting the best out of what he already has. Players like Bruno Fernandes and Benjamin Šeško are being used in ways that maximize their strengths within a flexible system. In a dressing room full of big personalities, Carrick offers something incredibly valuable right now: stability, clarity, and unity, especially when the post-World Cup preparation window will be brutally short. But despite all that, Ineos still have bigger, long-term concerns. Being a solid caretaker, or even a short-term solution, is a completely different challenge compared to building a system capable of winning the Premier League or the Champions League, especially when you're up against elite minds like Pep Guardiola or Mikel Arteta. Yes, Carrick managed to beat both Arsenal and Manchester City during his interim spell, but inside the boardroom there's still a lingering fear. Appointing him permanently could repeat the same mistake from the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, where emotional connection and understanding weren't quite enough to overcome tactical limitations, especially against deep defensive blocks. While Carrick continues to strengthen his case with real results on the pitch, Ineos have also had to face a harsh reality in the managerial market. Over the past months, a long list of candidates has been linked with the job. From elite, proven names like Carlo Ancelotti, Luis Enrique, Thomas Tuchel, and Roberto De Zerbi, to Premier League-tested coaches like Oliver Glasner, Fabian Hürzeler, Unai Emery, Marco Silva, and Andoni Iraola. But the one name Ineos truly wanted, Luis Enrique, now appears to be completely out of reach. Despite United's efforts to lure him in, Paris Saint-Germain have made their stance crystal clear. The French giants are not just determined to keep Luis Enrique, they're ready to offer him a new deal with unprecedented power and backing to protect their long-term project at the Parc des Princes. That level of commitment has effectively shut the door on any hope of bringing Enrique's possession-heavy, dominant style to Old Trafford. And in doing so, it has quietly reshaped the entire managerial race, turning it into a straight battle between Carrick's internal stability and the modern tactical edge of Julian Nagelsmann. If Carrick represents continuity, then Nagelsmann represents the future, a new generation of coaches who treat football like a complex tactical chessboard. At just 38, Nagelsmann already boasts an impressive resume, from his work at RB Leipzig to Bayern Munich, and now with the Germany national team. He brings with him a clear, modern identity built around positional play, an ambitious, structured system that demands intelligence, discipline, and precision. Nagelsmann is, in many ways, a tactical mastermind, someone capable of completely resetting United's system from the ground up. And there's a major advantage working in his favor. Christopher Vivell, as director of recruitment, Vivell already understands Nagelsmann's philosophy inside out from their time together within the Red Bull network. He strongly believes Nagelsmann is the perfect architect to build a flexible, multifunctional squad, one that can seamlessly switch between systems like 3-4-2-1 and 4-2-2-2. But there's one massive obstacle: timing. With the 2026 World Cup taking place in June, Nagelsmann will be fully committed to leading Germany through the tournament. That means he would have almost no time to properly settle in at Manchester United, let alone implement a complex tactical system that requires detailed coaching and repetition. And that's the real concern. A system as structured and demanding as Nagelsmann's doesn't just click overnight. It needs time, precision, and a full pre-season to truly take shape, something United simply won't have. And that's exactly why Julian Nagelsmann is starting to push harder than ever. Respected journalist Ben Jacobs revealed, Julian Nagelsmann wants to hold talks now, rather than waiting until it gets too close to the World Cup. In this situation, the role of Christopher Vivell becomes more crucial than ever. Vivell and Nagelsmann go way back to their time in the Red Bull system at RB Leipzig. And this isn't just a random partnership, it's a perfect match. Vivell builds the squad based on Nagelsmann's tactical vision. Nagelsmann, in return, maximizes every ounce of potential from the players Vivell brings in. It's a synchronized process, the kind of dream rebuild formula that could turn Manchester United into a modern, intelligent, and highly ambitious football machine. If Nagelsmann chooses to join United, he knows one thing for sure. Early preparation at boardroom level is the only way to compensate for the lack of time on the training pitch. But if Ineos hesitate, they risk missing out on one of the brightest tactical minds of the new generation. Right now, Ineos are standing at a crossroads. With Luis Enrique staying at Paris Saint-Germain, the options have narrowed. But at the same time, the path forward has become clearer. Choose Michael Carrick, and Ineos are choosing safety, continuity, and trust. They're backing someone who understands the club inside out to guide United through a brutally short post-World Cup preparation period. Choose Julian Nagelsmann, and they're choosing boldness. They're accepting that the transition could be painful at first, but with the belief that it could lay the foundation for a long-term footballing identity built on structure, innovation, and ambition. The clock is ticking. With Nagelsmann eager to decide his future early and the World Cup fast approaching, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Ineos leadership can't afford to wait any longer. Manchester United don't need someone who is just good enough. They need a leader worthy of taking one of England's greatest clubs back to where it truly belongs, at the very top.